What happens when an undercover boss walks into his own supermarket and stumbles upon something that shakes him to the core? Let's dive in and discover the unexpected twists in this heartfelt story. Derek Marsh was the kind of man who believed in hard work and fairness. As the founder and CEO of a chain of supermarkets called Harvest Town Market, he had built his business from scratch. Starting as a young man with nothing but a dream, he worked tirelessly for years, hiring the right people and treating them with respect. His employees were like family to him, though. Over time, his expanding business made it harder to connect with them personally. Derek was a man of routine, spending most of his days in a high-rise office overseeing operations. But recently he had been feeling uneasy. His business was thriving, but the distance from the everyday workings of his stores nagged at him. He wanted to know what life was like on the ground floor, among his employees, his customers, and the shelves he once stocked himself. One morning, Derek decided to go undercover. He swapped his tailored suits for a plaid shirt, jeans, and a baseball cap. To anyone looking, he seemed like a regular man in his mid-40s, not the owner of a multi-million-dollar company. He chose one of his mid-sized stores in a small town called Maplewood, where he hadn't visited in years. Walking through the automatic doors, Derek immediately noticed the faint scent of baked bread and fresh produce. The store looked clean and organized, just as he had hoped. Employees were busy stocking shelves, and customers were going about their shopping. Derek grabbed a cart and wandered through the aisles, trying to blend in. As he turned into the cereal aisle, a commotion caught his attention. A tall, middle-aged man named Luke stood by the customer service counter, visibly upset. Derek decided to listen from a distance, curious about what the man was complaining about. Luke, holding a basket of groceries, spoke with frustration to an employee named Max, who looked nervous. "This place is supposed to care about people," Luke said, his voice cracking. "But every time I come here, I see old Mr. Harvey struggling by himself. Why doesn't anyone help him? He's been in the parking lot for 20 minutes, trying to load his groceries." Max stammered, I didn't know about that. I'll go check right now." Derek felt a pang in his chest. He stepped closer and introduced himself as a customer. "Excuse me," he said. "I couldn't help but overhear. Who's Mr. Harvey?" Luke looked at him, his frustration giving way to sadness. "He's an old man who comes here every week, lives alone, barely has enough strength to carry his bags, let alone walk. I've seen him struggle too many times. It's heartbreaking." Without another word, Derek followed Max outside. Near the far end of the parking lot, an elderly man in his 80s was trying to lift a heavy bag of dog food into the trunk of his car. His hands shook as he gripped the bag, but he wouldn't ask for help. Derek ran over and gently placed his hand on the man's shoulder. "Let me help you with that," he said softly. Mr. Harvey looked up, startled, but nodded. "Thank you, young man. These bags don't get any lighter." As Derek loaded the groceries, he noticed the wariness in Mr. Harvey's eyes. They spoke briefly, and the old man explained how he lived alone after his wife passed away. His dog, Buddy, was his only companion. The heavy bags were for Buddy's food, but each trip to the store left him exhausted. Derek's heart sank. How had no one noticed this before? He returned to the store, determined to find answers. Approaching Max, he asked, "Why hasn't anyone offered to help Mr. Harvey before?" Max hesitated. "We're supposed to stay at our stations. And honestly, I don't think anyone's been paying attention." Derek realized this wasn't just about Mr. Harvey. It was about the culture of the store. He spent the rest of the day observing quietly, talking to employees and customers. He discovered that while most employees were kind and hardworking, there were gaps in training and management. Acts of kindness weren't being encouraged, and the pressure to meet sales goals overshadowed everything else. At closing time, Derek revealed his identity to the store manager, a young man named Peter. Peter's face turned pale as Derek explained everything he had seen. "Peter," Derek said, his voice steady but firm, "we've forgotten what Harvest Town Market stands for. We built this company to serve people, not just sell to them. If we can't take care of our customers, we're failing." Peter nodded, tears in his eyes. You're right, sir. I've been so focused on numbers, I forgot what really matters. Derek didn't stop there. He called a meeting with the entire staff the next morning and shared the story of Mr. Harvey. He emphasized the importance of empathy and went on to implement changes across all his stores. Employees were encouraged to assist customers beyond their immediate duties. A new program was introduced where volunteers could help elderly or disabled customers with their shopping. As for Mr. Harvey, Derek made a personal visit to his home with a surprise: 6 months of free groceries and an offer to deliver them directly to his door. Mr. Harvey was overwhelmed, thanking Derek with a handshake that said more than words ever could. Through this experience, Derek learned that success wasn't just about profit margins or store expansions. It was about people. By reconnecting with his values, he not only changed the way his stores operated, but also inspired his employees to see their jobs in a new light. That's the story, friends. I hope you enjoyed it. It was a pleasure sharing it with you all. Don't forget to comment below and let me know where you're watching from. It's always fun to see the global reach of these stories. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button for more amazing stories, tips, and tricks. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. If you'd like to show some extra love, tap the 3 dots near the share button and send a super thanks.